Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my channel, and today in this video and in the series of videos, what I'm trying to do is create some kind of a clone of ChatGPT and then understand some of the basic concepts of AI, LLM, and how do we interact with them in the realm of PHP and Laravel. So if you have seen some of my recent videos, I have been doing a lot of research around how we can use the language PHP and the current offerings of AI to build solutions. And believe me, a lot of the available services allows you to code in your preferred language and build very sophisticated tools. So this whole series is primarily focusing on exploring these capabilities of AI using my preferred language, which is PHP, and using Laravel. So yeah, that's what I am going to show. Now, as basic steps so that we are all in the same place, what I want to do is give a quick tour in this video on the code base that I have right now, which is on top of the Laravel React Starter Kit. I have been using Copilot myself, and in this video, or rather in this code base, what I have done is taken help of ChatGPT and Copilot to create this UI, and then I refactored the code that I got to get into this place where it is giving me this basic working of a chat interface. And if you see, like if I say this is from the demo and I want to show chat behavior, if I do send, at basic level, it is doing the thing, right? And this is exactly what is the starting point for us to build the entire solution, right? So in this video, I'm going to explain what I have done so far. To start with, and I have this conversation page. So I'll open up my route and I will go to conversation. Now in this, I'm using this class conversation controller, and in this I have index. Now, if you see, I have this drop down for models, which is like a selection. If you look at ChatGPT, you will see a very similar thing. This is my tools if I want to do web research or something like that, right? And these are certain things which I have right now kind of hard coded inside the controller. My idea when doing such prototypes is that when you start with these things, and I will later on think about how I can populate this, whether these are going to come from config files or database or something else. I don't really care. What I only care about is that I am getting these values, okay? So I have this list of models. I have a list of tools which I would support. And I have this default model that I want to work with. Maybe this is a configuration, right? Then I'll come to the configuration later. If you see, I have this return statement. I'm sending all these data points. And yes, I'm also sending the conversation. Now, what is conversation? Well, each assistant user message exchange is part of a conversation. So if you see my code base, if I show you my apps models directory, I have the default user. User has the basic fields, and then I have conversation, right? Conversation has, it belongs to a user. It has many messages. And if I go to message, a message belongs to a user and conversation. Okay, so this is my basic structure. I'll show you my database tables as well. The conversation has a name and a foreign ID for, okay. The name is so that I'm able to rename it to something meaningful so that I can later on go to that conversation. You will see that with the ChatGPT as well. And I have the second table, which is my message. So I have foreign ID for conversation, user, which can be null, because if it is a system message, then there's no user ID. Then I have a sender type, just so that it is easy for me to decode whether it's a user or the assistant, and the message itself. Okay. Now I have sender type as a text field, or rather string field. I have a enum for that, which is sender type, user, agent, and I have a trait being used by this enum, which is enum trait. I have the static function for values, names, and options. Okay. Now let me go back to the controller. So I have a query, which is give me all conversations. Give me the conversation, the recent one. I'm taking the latest 30 messages of that conversation, right? And I'm sending it. So this is all right now that I have in this index. And this is all the data that I need in here to populate. We'll go into the other complexities later on. I'm not really worried about that right now. Okay. Because we are not focusing on building a chat system, but rather we are focusing on understanding how the LLM would work. So I want you to understand the basic structure for now. Okay, let us quickly look at now the inertia component, because it is an inertia page. If you don't remember, see, I am returning an inertia render chat index. So I'll click over here, and I think it should take me. Now, initially when I created this using the Copilot assistant, it created one big component which has everything, like this whole page. And then I had to break it down. So what I have done is, I'll go to this code later on, but first understand the component itself. So I have a head which translates into this thing, the title of the page. Then I have the sidebar. This sidebar is nothing but the default sidebar that we get with the Laravel Starter Kit. Okay. Then I have the conversation top bar, which is basically this drop down and this web search, the research, and all those things. And then I have this chat area. Okay. The chat area is where this entire thing is, even the form. Okay. Sidebar and all, I would say not too difficult to understand the code. You can go ahead and look at that. If you see, I have certain props, page props coming in, for example, conversation, because in my control, I am sending that. Model tool and default model, I have them, all are defined over here. Then I have a form. Okay, I have a form on the main component, which is the page component. And what I do is, when there is a change in the message, and when that message is being sent, when the button is clicked, right, I am passing that function as a prop, which takes the user message and it updates the form's message. Okay, so that's how I have a form which can be submitted, okay, when that send button is clicked. How am I doing that? Well, this chat area, I have some code over here. So let's first look at the markup. I have the render messages function, which we will go into. Then I have this text area and the button. Okay, this is where my message is being typed. Okay, now the render message, what am I doing over here? So I get the conversation. If I show you the object, I have conversation, I have messages, I expand them, and I have 30 messages over here, right? And this is how, and I'm rendering it. So in here, if my conversation message length is not null, okay, then what I do is, I was getting the messages in an order which I have reversed here. So this is now my message in order, and then I run a map function. Okay, if the sender type is user, then I have a different markup, and if it is not user assistant, then I have a different markup. Okay. Then I have this scroll to bottom. So whenever the page is rendered, I'm hitting right at the end of the message scroll bar so that the latest message is visible. Whenever there's typing going on, this text area height increases. So that's what I'm covering through this use effect. Okay. Now the chat area is done. Now what happens is whenever that update happens, okay, if data.message is present, I make a post call to message.store. I prevent the scroll to change. I preserve the scroll, and on success, I set the data of the message to empty because now I have posted it, and I reload the router. This is a partial reload so that I get the new conversation. I don't need to load other things, although they are not query right now. But basically, these things will not be fetched. Only the conversation will be fetched again. Okay. And it is, I have a use effect on the data.message. Whenever this is changing, this thing executes. Okay. So yeah, with that, I have a post. So message.store. And if I come over here, I have message.store. I have written the code right now inside the web.php itself, but I'll move it later on. I have data that is being validated. Then I create that message. I have that log still in here. I will remove that. And yeah, conversation ID is right now hard coded because I'm still working on the selection. User ID is the auth user ID. Sender type is user. Message, what the message is, and I'm saving that. Now this is user because when I generate the response, okay, I am planning to use the server sent events, and that's why I will stream that response and then I will save it as a new message. Okay, that's what the idea, and that is the reason my previous video, if you look at that, it is talking about what server sent event is and how you can use it to show data in real time on the front end being sent from the backend. You don't need any WebSockets or anything. We will rely on server sent events to get that real time effect of the LLM streaming the response and we getting that. Okay, so that's what we are going to try. So yeah, that's about it, guys. That's the current code base. I have given you a quick walkthrough. You can find the code base on my GitHub profile. You can go to Amitav Dev Zone, the GitHub profile, and this is Chat Buddy, where you can see the entire code base. I'll create a tag of this so that you are able to get right into this particular version and you are able to refer to this code. It's a tag, so you can at any point go to that particular point of time and look at what the code was looking at. And yeah, that's about it, guys. That's the start of this Chat Buddy application, where we would explore the capabilities of AI and LLMs. So yeah, stay tuned, guys, and let me know what you think about the project.